Yeah, I sense that there's been, quite a lot of positive energy and also mixed with some criticism, and I think that's worthy of an international side. I think you can't come to a tournament like this and expect to have it your entire way. Our last campaign was very smooth in the T20 World Cup. We won every game convincingly, a little bit sort of clinical like, we saw our semi-final performance, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything until you strike the big game. So here we are in the big dance. We've taken on board the criticisms, we've enjoyed the successes and the failures both, and I think we're ready to play.
The fact that it's been a bit more of a struggle to get here, does that help? Is that battle hardened compared to what happened last time out? Does that help you?
Look, I really like the struggle. I think it gives you an opportunity to be able to grow and reflect as a team. When Team Pakistan come here, like all touring teams, it's not like that's their home conditions. So you need that little bit of, that sense of just, I need to improve in key areas of the game. And I think one by one to a man, they've really done that with ball, bat and field. I think one of the greatest challenges for Pakistan in the last World Cup was their fielding efforts. This year and this time round, it's been really significant the way that they've stepped up. They're big physical grounds. I mean, these grounds here are 82 square metre boundaries, 65, each way, huge space, and it's just so key to have good athletic ability. And for mine, one key moment last match was Shadab's run out. You get one of those run outs, suddenly you're in the game.
Matthew, do you think one of the key matchups on Sunday, given how England chased that target last night, is going to be Hales and Butler versus Shaheen and Naseem?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, isn't it, really? You got quality fast bowling versus quality batting. It's really why you want to watch the game. We've got 4 quicks, not just those 2 that you mentioned, but 4 of them that can really, make impact and create some sustainable damage inside 20 overs. One of the things that I think that India was really missing last night also in the spin bowling department was a leg spinning option. Really a 6 bowling option. This side has 6 genuine options and a 7th as well, should if the be required. So, I think the bases are covered. I think both sides actually have got very equal setups. When you look at the England setup as well, they've got genuinely 6 bowling options, and the handy option of having batting all-rounders as well, like Shadab and Nawaz. A little bit the same, for England as well, with Moeen Ali. And also Rashid. So yeah, it's just even Stevens. At the start of this tournament, I always thought that England was going to be a huge threat to this tournament, and here we are on the edge of a final, on the eve of a final.
Everybody was saying about an India-Pakistan final.
Yeah.
What can Pakistan...
Dreaming about an India-Pakistan final.
Yeah, so what can Pakistan-England final do to world cricket?
Look, it's very important, these world tournaments, that they're met with the 2 best sides. People would argue that India should be there. People would argue that Australia, being defending champion, should be here. But the fact is that England and Pakistan are here. And you need that little bit of luck, as Pakistan, as it turns out, has had that little bit of luck, especially the game obviously against the Netherlands, which really went our way against South Africa. So that's all history. It would have been lovely to see the 2 subcontinental rivalries come to this stage and play, an enormous game. I don't think this stadium's ever seen a spectacle of sport like the first game that we had at the start of the tournament. Of course, that would have been lovely to regenerate, but it's not. And it's still really important that the world obviously sees 2 fine cricket teams play great cricket.
Any reasons?
Matthew.
Yeah.
You and Gilly went after ball, scored a lot of runs, entertained, and what is that?
You should listen to me.
I'm sorry.
Please ask.
Sorry. Matthew, before the semi-finals, you said you will see a different Baba. What did you do?
Not much. It's what Bubba did. Bubba in my book was a classic case of just having a tournament where it wasn't quite going his way. And I think just having that anxiety and that pressure of a mentoring role like myself that can just put things into perspective, having been there so many times. I can't believe how many times, I had to fight my way through certain critical areas where I was going to be dropped, or, I wasn't the first choice or first picked. So just giving some perspective, I think, was my role in it. But of course, that's all you can do. You can only just hand over to a wonderful cricketer like Bubba to get it right. And he just, on the night, performed, as we all know, right? Bubba can. He was brilliant.
Matthew, how would you define this group of cricketers? I mean, on 5th of November, when sun was rising, Pakistan was on verge of being eliminated from the tournament. By the sunset, we were in semi-finals. How would you describe all this journey and this group of cricketers?
Yeah, it's a very emotional campaign, World Cup cricket. The tournament play is very separate to the Future Tours program play, where it meanders its way through various tournaments, and we're all kind of like wondering what it means. But when it comes to these huge tournaments, we know what it means. It means the opportunity to lift the World Cup. It means the opportunity to set nations alight and alive again, reinvigorate a nation through its national team's performance. And it's got a definitive time. This tournament is 1 month. We knew at the start of this tournament that someone was going to win, and come Sunday, someone will win. And someone will lose as well. But the very fact that, and I think that's where the emotion comes into play, because you understand the importance of it. The highs have been really solid in this tournament for Pakistan. I think there's been some really key performances. For mine the other day, it was off the field when Bubba was throwing in warm-up balls to Rizwan. To me, that's very reflective of a culture that's working. Not a coach throwing to a player, but a player on a player, hoping that and building that commonality. I think that's a beautiful moment and a beautiful metaphor for this team that really, at its heart, has got raw talent mixed with the passion of a nation that loves the game. And here we are, loving the game.
Yeah, just to go back to that question, you and Gilly went after 50 over cricket, scored a lot of runs. Rizwan and Babar don't do as much, but still 800 runs at the top of the order and one for the second wickets. How would you describe that actually?
Yeah, it's a great
900 and stands.
Yeah, look, the stats are amazing, aren't they? When you look at those two and their performances, and it just speaks volumes for not their on-field relationship, but very much their off-field chemistry and relationship. Both very good leaders under their own rights. Both men are highly geared towards nationalistic pride and their commitment to Islam as well. And I think both also just get cricket. They get each other. They get the game of cricket. They understand that it's going to have its lulls, but generally speaking, they've got each other's backs. Two's always better than one. That's why the great partnerships are recognised. That's why you'll see every player stand up with a 50 or 100 run partnership, because it matters. And we saw that last night, right, in the semi-final as well, with Hales and Butler. It matters, that performance remaining unblemished, right through that run chase. So yeah, these are key factors for Rizzy and Bubba, and it's generational in cricket as well. Who'll ever forget the Haynes and Greenwich partnership? Something which I and Justin, we were always like chasing that partnership. Never got there, thankfully, but that's in our heads was important, and I'm sure it is in Rizzy and Bubba's as well.
Matthew, having played 7 T20s, T20 internationals between them recently, do you think that makes both the team familiar to each other?
Yeah, I think every international side's, they've got the due diligence. There's no secret. And that's why you'll always hear the cliche in sport that it's on the day that matters, and it's 100% right. It's on the day who handles the pressure. It's on the day who's got their game preparation spot on. It's on the day who can handle their emotions. It's on the day how their own individual games set up their play. It's how they start, and it's also how they finish. So, all those cliches of sport, they matter in the big games, and that's why you often see in semi-finals and finals one side capitulate, beyond the point of recognition almost. I mean, who would have thought last night Team India were defeated wicketless? So anything can happen, but generally you've got to have your stuff together, and I think Team Pakistan's done that well over the last couple of weeks.
last three, 1, 2, and 3.
Matthew, Harris Ralph's played a lot of cricket here for the Melbourne Stars. What sort of advice can he offer to some of the guys who haven't played as much cricket here at the MCG?
Ground dimensions are a really key factor here because they are so big square of the wicket, and he'll know how to defend against that. I mean, when you look at genuine fast bowling, we talk about their attacking options for about 3 seconds. The first 3 or 4 overs, and then it goes into a defensive mindset and defensive game. And so Harris has got that wide. He's already talking to the boys around that. So, you know, what happens in professional sport is that there's information sharing, and Harry's done a great job of that so far in this tournament.
Yeah.
Matt, could a young Matt Heden have ever thought he'd be standing at the MCG in Pakistan green preparing for a World Cup final?
Nah, I mean, it's quite obvious that, you know, after playing so much cricket for Australia, and now sort of influencing their game from a broadcast sense, and mostly overseas as well in India through the IPL, and also any tournament really Australia play in India. Now through the screens of 7, you know, through the summer, you know, clearly I've kind of chosen that path of working within media. But I've got to say that it's such a fantastic honour and privilege to be able to share the sport as you know it with people that genuinely respect and want to listen to what you have to say. And you know, the way that Pakistan has welcomed me has been, you know, a real treat and something I'll never forget. And I'm just glad that we're at this stage, and you know, I've been able to play my small part in that.
Matthew, after Babar, we have seen that you are working closely with Shaheen and Haris Rove, especially focusing on their batting. If they get a chance in the match, I think they are going to hit big sixes. What advice you have given them?
Hit big sixes. Pretty simple. If they get it into that stage, yeah, go for it, smash it.
Yeah, mate, just on the weather, the forecast is great for the day and the reserve day. Is it best
we are in Melbourne, aren't we?
Is it best to just ignore it, or do you need to sort of have a little bit of think about the conditions?
Look, I think you've got to have your eye on conditions. I mean, today there was a great chance of rain, and here we are. You know, we had a good chance to have a look at the wicket, and the wicket looks excellent. High quality. He's played a number of matches on it since the first game here, which did have a bit of swing and seam. So I expect, you know, that won't be so prominent in this next match after I think this is the 4th game played on it. But yeah, look, I think it's in the lap of the gods, and you know, who knows the weather here in Melbourne is, you know, especially this time of year. It's not January and February where you can basically, you know, get your outdoor setting out and have your barbie ready to go. It's variable, and I suppose being early season just means that we have to put up with that. And on the day, I'm sure that Melbourne is going to open up enough to have a 10-over match.
Just quickly, 30 years ago was a really significant moment in Pakistan's white ball history. Does that history, does that mean much to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we've had our chairman, Ramiz Raja, come out and talk to the boys this morning, and he was just reliving some of those stories, you know, like around the 92 World Cup. And I think that's great because that's why you play the game. I mean, these boys will inevitably, their careers will be better blink, and they'll be looking back on this tournament regardless of the result, saying that we were in a semi-final, we were in a final, and hopefully they can say we were in a winning final. And they'll tell these stories around campfires, in their villages, in media conferences like the one we are here, and it'll be an important chapter of Pakistan cricket. As the 92 campaign was, the emergence of another superpower under, you know, one of the most influential cricketers of all time in Imran Khan is doing, you know, great things. You know, celebrating democracy is an important part of life, and he's doing that like a champion he was in the 92 World Cup. So yeah, it is important for sure.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks.